Okay. So first of all, as you said, the topic would be the uncertainty in banking and insurance. And my input would be that how we are solving this kind of problems and uncertainties with the modern age technology. I hope that everybody can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so before I move on with the slide, let me just give you a brief about the agenda or what to expect out of this session. So but we will talk about what is BFSI domain in brief, what are included in the BFSI domain, and what are the current challenges that is impacting the BFSI domain, and how technology is actually helping the banking and insurance industry or the BFSI domain to overcome those challenges. Now, let's first talk about BFSI. And before we do that, there is a very important quote that I would like to highlight over here. That is the quote by Bill Gates, who is the co-founder of Microsoft. And he explicitly says that the advance of technology is based on making it fit in so that you don't even really notice it, so it's part of your everyday life. What it generally means or roughly translates to is that technology is the advancement of technology is measured that how it seamlessly can fit in our day-to-day life without us noticing it, that it is acting as a catalyst in our day-to-day life, and it is helping us to achieve more and more. And many people have wrong notions about the advancement of technology, that it will eliminate the human intervention and human touch. However, my view on technology is that the advancement of technology will only enhance the human to make better and informed decisions, and minimizes the human errors, and it will help the humans to function much more efficiently in the upcoming days. And that's the path that we as the leaders in technology would like to take and like to envision in the upcoming in the upcoming times. And especially about technology is helping us when we are working all from home and working in our different self isolations, not being able to go out, not being able to move freely, and not being able to go ahead and carry on with our day-to-day routine. But technology is somewhere helping us to not to disrupt that particular routine, but also to get the things done in the way it can be done. So coming back to the agenda of the BFSI domain, so as many of you know, or maybe all of you know, that the term BFSI is an acronym for banking, financial service, and insurance. And it is the term that we use in the industry for a variety range of products, or a large range of products and services. And it is commonly used in the IT, ITES, and BPO companies, and by us like technical professional services. So basically, what we do is we manage data processing, we do application testing and software development activities in this particular domain. Now, in banking, it may include the core banking sector, which can also include retail, private, corporate, investment, cards, and there are many banking products that you can think of. And the financial services may include stockbroking, payments, gateways, mutual funds. Insurance can cover both life and non-life. Then you have different sections like medical insurance, general insurance, and something there is in the United States, which we have noticed is known as the property insurance. And also in the property insurance also, there are different sections as well that in United States, and every state have their own laws and mandates which governs those insurance laws. Okay. So moving on to the next slide is the challenges that impacting the BFSI. So the BFSI industry was going through a period of change for several years now, for several different factors. So if you can see the diagram on the right, you will see that there is a swim lane which is covering almost all the challenges or impacts that is impacting the BFSI in a diagrammatical fashion. Now that swim lane is divided into three sections. If you see on the left hand side, one is the regulation, one is the systems and the customer, and the other is the financials. Now, on the vertical side, you will see that it is also divided into three sections, which is the market reputation, competitive environment, and the operational excellence and the cost efficiency, right? So in the market reputation, the BFSI always has to, take and take priority of those shareholder and the policy holders value. They need to provide good returns to the shareholders or the policyholder or the consumer in general. Okay. On top of that, if you move to the competitive environment, it is not only one insurance company or one bank which is operating in the market. Right? So there are different banks, different insurance companies who are competing and trying to capture market in several different ways, and that's where the competitive environment comes in. And in the competitive environment, the banking and the financial institutions need to go ahead and increase their profit and loss profitability. They need to optimize their investment portfolio. They need to go ahead and do low investment returns. They can also go ahead and use their operations and outsource those operations to the BPOs or the IT companies who can manage their operational processes, which can result in cost efficiency and also in optimizing their process automation. Okay, so these are the challenges that are there, and this is constantly haunting the BFSI industry as a whole, not only in India but it's worldwide. Okay. The other challenges would be to how we can store that huge amount of data and how we can analyze and how we can provide that particular output so that the investment companies, the banking sectors, the insurance, they can all benefit and provide some informed decisions. Okay, so the next challenge is that how we are going to organize and store and analytical data. Okay, so on the right hand side, you will see a rough diagram without going into much technicality about it. So it's kind of a pyramid structure. It actually, what it does is it actually on the bottom of the pyramid structure, it's all the data sources that you have. Because nowadays everything is data driven, right? Whatever we do, whatever we act, whatever actions that we take online, those are all creates a huge amount of data, right? So there has to be a perfect way to store that particular data, analyze those data, standardize those data, because the data that is being received at the source is non-standardized. Okay, so the first step is that how we can standardize those data. After we have achieved the standardization of data, we will move ahead and we will like to store that in a capacity where the data about leakage or the information is not leaked, right? It has there some certain banking industries have a good amount of confidential and privacy clause, right? Because they are dealing with financial instruments. So they have to be very careful how they store that particular data, right? There should not be any data leakage. There should not be any what I can say mishap which can lead that data to leak to wrong hands, right? Because data can be misused, and today whoever has the most amount of data is considered to be a more powerful individual or a more powerful firm, right? So everybody is trying to go ahead and gather as much as data as possible, and in order for to analyze and come up with some predictive modeling which can help them to pinpoint what the consumers need, how they can cater to the consumers, and what is the amount of profitability that can be generated with that amount of data. Okay, so if you see the bottom of the pyramid, it's all the data sources. Now in the just above that, it is the actual and the capital modeling for results. Like the data that I have stored, I have analyzed. Now I am doing some capital modeling for results. After I have done that, then we need to define what we call an underlying data model, that how the data would be distributed to the different sectors within a particular firm. So if you take organization as a pyramid, then there are different layers to a particular organization. One layer stores the data, one layer analyzes the data, one layer actually goes ahead and tries to go ahead and distribute that data to the different wings of that particular organization, so that they can analyze those data and further take informed decisions, so that it can help their product quality. They can help in their future offerings to the consumer. They can also gauge that how much of profitability that can be generated if those products are offered into the particular market, right? Then all those data distribution, there has to be a central repository. So the fourth layer actually talks about how we can store the data in a very centralized and a centralized data location, where there are all about the whole organization can access those centralized repositories, and they can extract data with some data management tools, and they can analyze if and when they required. And the last thing is that reporting engine, that whatever in the organization. So if I take Amity as an organization, the all the data that is getting generated from the Amity Kolkata organization might be getting stored in a centralized repository or the centralized database which Amity University holds, right? And as and when required, Amity Kol can have the access to that centralized repository with certain permissions and access, and they can extract that data and make use of that data as per the purpose as they seem fit. Okay, so that's the reporting engine, and a reporting engine gives you information. Management action can be reactive, they can be predetermined based on the information that they get. So this is one of the challenges that banking industry also faces, that because banking industry has a huge amount of personal data, they have financial informations, and they deal with financial instruments on a day-to-day basis, not only domestically but also internationally. There are accounts of NRIs which are getting which are opened in Indian banks. There are Indians which are traveling abroad, so the financial transactions are huge, right? So, and it is not only restricted to one geography or one demographics. It has widespread impact worldwide. So a banking or a financial institution has to be very careful how they actually store the data, analyze the data, and how they use the data for the benefit of the consumer and also for their own organization, where they can gauge where the profitability and how they can go ahead and serve new offerings to the consumer. Correct. So that is one of the challenges that BFSI is actually looking into. The next challenge is the legacy technologies. So many banking and financial institutions, they use technologies which are pretty outdated. Okay, so when we say pretty outdated, that means that they have been coded and developed in very primitive computing languages. For example, Photon, COBOL, and those are obsolete languages. And we as a technologically advanced corporations, we have move ahead of the curve, and we have outdated those particular languages, and we have developed more user-friendly languages which can able to process huge amount of data which the primitive languages cannot. And also it is very easy to maintain, and it is very cost effective as well. So the major challenges that the BFSI or the banking institutions face, that they most of them, they operate on a very legacy technologies. Okay, and there is a challenge how they can radically reduce cost while at the same time they improve customer service and support new initiatives. Now, as we know that technology is the main weapon in meeting these challenges, but there are many users, many banking or financial institutions who are only acquainted or build their core systems around the old technology. Now, there is a very interesting amount of data that has came up, and it is that the average BFSI has 10 to 14 core systems installed, And if it is a multinational BSI, they have reportedly more than 80 core systems installed, and the complexity is very high. And if we try to rip and replace, then it would be too risky, and it has to be going in phases. We have to treat those into separate projects, and as and when one projects get deployed, we go ahead, we observe how the behavior of that particular system is, and then we go ahead and make wait to analyze and to check whether other systems can also be replaced with the latest technology, so that it is very cost effective, it is very easy to maintain, and it can actually save up to 40 to 60% of the money that the banking and the financial institution spend in maintaining those legacy systems. So that can be definitely be optimized. So what are the options that we have to solve these legacy issues? First of all, I would like to talk about something known as RAP. Okay, so what is a RAP? It is actually the acquisition or the servicing and the maintenance cost by wrapping the legacy system with modern processes and management technology. For example, everything can be done online, right? Now, banks and institutions, they are moving everything online. There is something known as policy aggregators like Policy Bazaar, right? When you put in some criterias, it actually aggregates and gives you a whole lot of options, and it can help you to get the most favorite deal which you can choose, which can actually suffice all your criterias for getting an insurance, but also it can also help you to keep the minimum at the lowest which is available in the market. Okay, so that is a wrap. Okay. Now, second is that we replace, we go ahead and we replace the old systems all in one, and we replace it with the bespoke or the package system with specialist vendors. Like, so they can hire different vendors like Cognizant, they can hire different vendors like Accenture, or many IT companies to develop and replace their old system. So with new package solutions or the bespoke systems. Now, what is a bespoke system? Bespoke system is nothing but a customized system. Okay, it is not a package solution that comes you as a package, right? Like SAP provides their solutions in a package, right? There are different modules in SAP which is already built, and they only allow few customizations to happen, but you have to use those particular packages in your day-to-day operations. So SAP does that, and there are many other companies who actually goes ahead and they actually put those packages or package solutions across, so that but they can just buy those packages, implement it, and they can run, or they can use their solutions to run their businesses on a day-to-day basis. Now, there is another one where the bank or the institution says that I need some bespoke system. That means my package solution will actually not work. Where I need custom solutions which can cater to my specific needs, because my line of business, my products are not a common products which is used by all, which can be sufficed by a package solution. So those are known as bespoke systems, which we develop as an organization, which can cater to the specific needs of our customers, our banks or the financial institute, whoever our customers are. Now, the third thing is that we renovate. Obviously, we go ahead and we look into the legacy system. We reduce their system maintenance. We consolidate their legacy system logics and data onto a modern technical platforms, right? And using that data migration and design recovery tool set as a method. So we can renovate, and we can, totally renovate their legacy system with our modern technology. We can consolidate whatever legacy logics that they have. We can do migrations of data into our technical platforms. We can analyze and we can send back those data in a much more consolidated manner. So that is what we call we renovate. And the third obviously is to outsource if there is some process inefficiency that is happening. There are other vendors out there or other companies like Cognizant, Accenture, Wipro, or matter of fact, any IT company that you pick up today, they are all offering their services to optimize your profession, your operational excellence, right? So they can definitely go ahead and do that for you, obviously at a cost, but whatever cost that you are spending on your operations on a day-to-day basis, that can be reduced and you can get much more of operational efficiency if it is managed and outsourced to different vendors where they can manage, provided you provide all the guidelines how they need to manage and what are the regulatory parameters that they need to take care of. So those are the options where we can solve the legacy issues. Now let's talk about the new customer value chain. Now this situation that has arisen due to COVID and the pandemic, it has it has made everybody think that how we can design a new customer value chain, right? How we can adapt to this particular situation where everybody is there isolated and yet they would require certain services, and how we can cater to those services in a much more effective way, and how technology can help us to achieve that particular goal. Okay, so first of all, what triggered is that the needs that is there in the for the customers, for the banking and the financial institutions, how what are the needs that the consumer have. They analyze that, so that what we call a discovery phase. Okay, which can actually influence on the buying decision. Okay, so we need to discover what are the influencers on the buying decisions. What are the untraditional providers and distributors that own that particular customer, which influences their buying decision. So that is a particularly a discovery phase, right? Where we discover, we analyze, and we come up with a plan, right? Then we explore. Now when we explore, it is not only about doing R&Ds, but when we explore into different avenues. We compare platforms, we compare aggregators, we compare financials, so we compare online versus a person, we compare changing role of agents, right? So we go ahead and we explore certain different aspects of a value that we can go ahead and provide to our customers, right? So we explore on certain things. Second is that how we select our products, right? Now, when we select our products through a particular agent who is sitting in front of you explaining those products, it's a different paradigm altogether, right? And you get to ask questions. Your questions can be answered, and you can go ahead and apply those thought processes, and then you decide which product you want to choose and how you want to go about making your financial decisions on a day-to-day basis. But right now it is all online, right? You cannot just visit a bank. You have to take appointment. There is social distancing norms in place. Everything is getting digitized. Our prime minister is speaking about digital India and the digital India initiatives, which is affecting not only banking industry but any industry as a whole, where it can be optimized and it can be brought online for the consumers to have a go through right from the convenience of your home, and they can still go ahead and get those services without stepping out of their with the comfort of their home, right? So first of all, we need to select products. How the products are getting selected, it does have some risk, because you might not get answers to all your questions of that particular product. You need to research more online, whatever informations are there available online, and then need to take some decisions in order to select that product online and make your financial decisions, right? Now there are some new products that has come up for insurance. Now we see new kind of insurance which is known as COVID insurance, which is a product which is taken by most of us, and even big corporates. But they are offering COVID insurance as part of their corporate insurance, Even I have that from my particular organization. So these are the new products, and there are many new products which are coming up, which are catering to different needs of a particular consumer. Right now, there are some products which can have certain personalizations into play when we have a third party data, right? So when we have access to a third party data, I can act as a third party vendor as well to a main product. For example, if I am into stock broking, right, and if I have a platform where the stock buying and selling can happen, then automatically I have access to the third party data, because I am registering third party users into my particular platform, and I'm enabling those users to buy and sell stocks right from my platform, right? So those are the products that are in offer. Like, for example, if you see new applications coming up like uh, up stocks, right, which actually help you to invest in stocks and in mutual funds. It can also then there is phone pay, which is also helping you to buy golds, even digital golds. Who would have thought 10 years back that we can buy digital golds, right? It can also help you to get certain trends on certain mutual funds. You can also invest mutual funds online, and you can also see your returns on a real-time basis, on a day-to-day basis. So those are the personalizations that happen. And what it actually brought is it actually simplified and standardized the whole process, right? Previously, when somebody wanted to invest in stocks, they have to be, and formal application that they want to invest in stocks. Then the shares would have been allocated. Those shares would have been in hard copy, like in papers, and you have to keep that in a file, and you have to preserve that. Then if you have to sell, you have to sell through a broker, and then the exchange of selling would have happened. But nowadays it is everything digitized. You don't need to apply to get a stock, right? The only thing that you need to apply for is if there is an IPO in offering, and you are trying to get an IPO for that. But apart from that, if you're just a general investor or a medium investor who is investing, let's say 1 or 2 lakhs rupees in a particular stock, you don't need a broker. You can see the trends online. You can analyze the data for last 5 years. You can choose what kind of risk that you are willing to take on that particular stock, and they can make your decision. So it is much more simplified and standardized nowadays, right? Now you can also apply online, right, to open a bank account, to get an insurance. You can also get auto insurance online as well. So there are different applications which can give information about your vehicle insurance. So you can get auto insurance as well. You can compare insurances, and you can get what is the best fit for you, right? Now there is another part that has come into picture, that is how we approve and underwrite with automation, right? So whenever there is a claim from the insurance, so it has to be approved, it has to be adjudicated, it has to be claim certified. They have to look in different parameters whether the claim can be approved or not. Now, even before that, if I take a step backward, I will also like to, if I need to get a policy, the policy has to be gone through there, but the underwriter will actually see how they can bind that policy based on the criterias that you have provided. So there are different aspects in insurance that is happening. But right now, we are trying to automate each and everything. Even if you are trying to buy a policy, the underwriting up to some extent is already automated. So the underwriter who are responsible to bind the policy to an individual is also very automated. So they need to check less things and work more efficiently, so that your policy can be approved and be handed over to you in a much more efficient way in a much lesser time. And there is another thing, that is service and engagement, that how quick your service is, how engaged you are with that particular platform, and how you actually go and interact with that particular platform to get those services on a day-to-day basis. And next, as I talked earlier about the claims, how we can digitize that, how we can automate the whole process, and how we can prevent fraud as well. Because in claims, the main factor that we need to take care of is fraudulent claims, right? So how we can go ahead and minimize those frauds on a day-to-day basis. That's where also technology is helping us in a big way, analyzing maybe thousands of parameters and then coming to a conclusion that whether it's a legitimate claim or a fraudulent claim, or if any further clarification is required for this particular claim or not. So, and as you can see over here, that the insurers in the Asian countries, they have already started this journey. So they have started the journey on some specific fronts, and they have changed their way to outlook to look at things. So first of all, they have introduced the innovation culture in their particular organization, where the innovation is part of their culture, and it can move along as the time goes by, and it becomes a part of their inevitable culture, right? Now next is the process automation. Through innovation, the optimization can definitely happen, and how we can go ahead and do process optimization, which can help us to get better results, right? And it can help us in many different ways, not only in reducing cost, but also getting efficient results in a very quick around turnaround time, right? Next is how we can get access to new technology. So they have, through innovation, they are constantly searching that how new technology can help their processes on a day-to-day basis, and how it can help in reaching the consumers in a much more effective way. So, or they're all guessing on their on doing that particular bit on a day-to-day basis. Next is the financial returns. Obviously, the last three factors definitely leads to financial returns, because everything is in what is the direct output that we always gauge as a measure of success. Whether a process optimization is success or not, we gauge it whether it has increased the productivity, it has given financial returns, it has given financial savings to the organization. So we gauge each and every parameters which I've talked about in financials, right? Because that is one of the measuring points. Now there are two types of financial returns that we can gauge, or the parameters that we can gauge. One is the hard financials and one is the soft financials. Now what is the difference between hard financials and soft financials? Now hard financials is definitely, it is helping you to save and getting returns on let's say hard financials, which can actually be seen as a tangible product in your organization account, which is actually a savings, which is increasing the profitability. So those are hard finance savings, right? Now what is soft finance savings? Soft finance savings is that whatever you used to spend in your process optimization, process excellence, or an operational delivery, you are not spending that much. However, those savings are not tangible in nature. Those savings are actually helping the other streams in your organization to work much more effectively. So those are soft savings, or soft financials, that as we call it. Okay, so it is not very tangible. However, it actually helps different streams in a particular organization to work in a much more efficient way, because the implementation has happened to a different stream which is interrelated. So the new trends in the technology, obviously, it's the Internet of Things, that we all are connected with the internet. We can access a lot of things in the internet, right from opening the bank account through a closure request. Everything can be done with internet. And second is the customer engagement, how banking and financial institutions, they are actually engaging the customers on a day-to-day basis, and how they are interacting with the customers by providing quick services, quick turnaround times, and providing and pushing offerings which are actually targeted to a specific customer for specific needs. Then definitely there is smart analytics, though all of the things are dependent on how the data is analyzed and what outcomes that analysis comes. It can help in creating new products into the insurance or the banking domains. It can also help you in getting new customers to a particular banking institution, if the products are nice, if the interest rates are affordable, and how they can actually go about it. So it's all about the analysis, right? And how and the last thing is that closing the protection gap. Okay, so when we talk about closing the protection gap is how we can minimize the gap or the insecurities of a consumer when they are dealing things online, right? So how we can protect their interest, and also help the bank or the financial institution to keep their integrities in line, and the policies that they run by. Okay, so that is in a nutshell what we call the closing the protection gap, right? And on the left hand side you will see there are some companies which are actually taking that initiative and moving to the next level, where they can achieve these things, and they can help the financial institutions to work in a much more better way, and offer the consumers in a what we can say what they actually need, but in a much more efficient and much more transparent way. Now, what are the benefits of technologies in a insurance sector? Okay, so in the insurance sector, it can help the insurance companies to lower their insurance rates, right? And how we can do that, and how technology plays a role. Now you can see that there are many fitness apps or wearable devices, right? So even the wearable devices, they record your health data, right? So when they record their health data, all your health data are stored uh, in a database, and with your permission they can be accessed with your respective insurance providers. And when they have access to those particular health data of a particular individual, they can actually help providing custom products, which can help them to go ahead and take those products which can help them to get those insurance benefits at the time of needs, based on the health data that they have analyzed. And if they see that your health data is right and there is not much of a risk, then they can actually go ahead and lower your insurance rates. If the risk is less, then definitely your insurance rates will be or premium rates will be less. And the premium is higher when you're at a high risk individual. So because the chances of you filing a claim is actually higher when you're a risk individual, high risk individual in terms of health. Okay. The next thing is we are talking about Tesla coming to India, right? But Tesla have been operating in the United States for a long time, and in the United States, every state have their own particular laws in terms of taxes, right? So one of the major things that they have to bear is that insurances for their vehicles, right? And it is not an insurance that we pay in India, like yearly insurance, or maybe we pay 2-3 years of insurance at one go. Over there in the United States, every month the insurance has to be paid, insurance premium has to be paid for your vehicle. And it also depends that how old your vehicle is, how old your age is, and also what type of vehicle that you use. So if you have a self-driving car which has the latest technology and all kind of sensors which can prevent you of getting an accident, if the insurance of those particular cars will also come down. And also, because you are driving the car, and if you are owner of the car and you are driving on a day-to-day basis, so your life insurance rates will also come down, because you are a less sick individual in order to get an accident and to file a claim. Okay, so that's how technology is actually helping us. Next, as I spoke previously, fraud prevention. So technology has helped the insurance sector in many ways, and one of the biggest ways that it has helped us is the fraud prevention. So in any financial institutions or insurance sector, whenever you are dealing with financial instruments, there is a huge possibility that there will be fraudulent activities that can hamper your particular company, and it can you can be penalized for billions of dollars, right? And actually, the data says that the insurance fraud cost billions of dollars per year across the globe. Okay, and we have been, we have been working with all the leading platforms in order to minimize and to understand and to detect fraud at the source so that it can be prevented, and it can be scrutinized, and it can be identified what are the fraudulent activities that has been taken place, which can save insurance sectors billions of dollars. The next is the digital signature. Obviously, with the help of technology, we can go ahead and do some digital signatures. It can help also in lowering the fraud activities, because one of the fraud that generally happens is when they try to forge your signature, right? But with some digital signature, with a time stamp and a location stamp, you don't have much option to fake that particular signature. However, there are ways. People are finding new ways. Technology is never perfect, but we have achieved a lot in minimizing those threats or fraudulent activities. Next is the data analytics. Now, when we use technology in terms of data mining, we get a good, we use those things in a data analytics purview. We get better results. We can detect fraud. We can, with the help of predictive analytics, it can help us to prevent a claims payout if those payouts are wrong or it's not legitimate. So those things can be prevented with the help of technology. Now, the other thing is lower underwriting cost. Obviously, with internet connected services, the underwriting cost have already been lowered. So let's not spend much time on this. But yes, the other factor that I need to talk about is the billing efficiency. So whenever there is a premium and there are payments which needs to be made on a day-to-day basis or on a quarterly basis, those billing efficiencies has been improved with the help of technology. There has been minimized errors which was caused previously due to human interventions. Those errors have been minimized, and the billing efficiency has increased a lot. And the specialized insurance, as I spoke about, that with the help of data analytics and predictive modeling, you can understand what is your target audience and how you can provide specialized products to your end consumers. So those in the insurance sector are the specialized insurance, and they offer them on a day-to-day basis with some promotional offers, with some offers to add a top up for the critical illness. So those are specific things which acts as an add-on which you can take as a separate product, and you can utilize that if required, if time comes. Now let's talk about banking as a sector. Okay, so the technology is helping banking sector in a much more better way. One of the technologies that you might have heard about, which is known as DAO, which is known as digital account opening. Okay, and it is very popular in the current age, where we are all working in the isolation, and social distancing norms are in place. So it is very important that you can digitally open your account, right? And it is also the person to person payments, right? So that can also be taken care through digital initiatives which the government have taken. So that is also there. So it is also considered that roughly 3 in 10 institution plan to select a new or replacement a P2P payment tool in 2020, and most of them, they have gone ahead and already adapted that. Many big banking institutions, they have already adapted this particular facility of going for a P2P payment tool. Next is the cloud computing. Now, cloud computing has been part of our daily lives. But not this context is not related to our day-to-day working, where we are accessing information which are already stored in the cloud. But this talks specifically to the banking sectors, that how they can store data in the cloud without maintenance of a physical server or a physical database, that how they can store that particular data, and how on a time to time basis they can access the data in a much more secure way than previously they would have. So that is what cloud computing in this context refers to. Next up, there are some adoptions that are taking place. The first, everybody have heard the buzz sound, which is known as AI adoption. So AI is nothing but artificial intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence has their own challenges, right? Artificial intelligence can only work if we have a good amount of data. Okay, and we feed those the data into into those particular systems or platforms, and then they can self learn and they can evolve. But if we have scarcity of data, those AI initiatives might not work perfectly. Okay. But yeah, banking institutions are moving towards the AI implementations, and many banking institutions have allocated budgets for the AI adoptions as well, where the initiatives are taking place, and it is underway. And in the upcoming future, you will see that artificial intelligence would be influencing each and every decision that a banking or a financial institution takes for their products, for their offerings, for the consumers. So everything will be influenced by the artificial intelligence. And that is the buzzword, and it will be the buzzword in the upcoming years. The next thing is the platformification of the analytics, right? So there are different platforms where the analytics can happen. There is Microsoft BI, business intelligence, that is there, and there are other tools which can help us to do the analytics work. And in the upcoming years, there will be a huge focus in terms of these platforms and how well they can perform the analysis and how well they can aggregate all those data sources and provide valuable information to the management to take informed decisions of their organization. So there are other things that are also in play, like there are chatbots and machine learnings in banking. Now, what is machine learning and how it is different from AI, artificial intelligence, is a broad topic. I would not like to go in a bit, but let me tell you that machine learning and AI, artificial intelligence, are interrelated words, and sometimes it is roughly used interdependently. So there is not much differences. However, there are differences which we could have talked about if I would have more time. But in the interest of time, let's just stick to that. That machine learning and artificial intelligence are almost similar with some subtle variances and certain variances in terms of implementations. However, it is implemented and it will be implemented in the banking and the insurance sectors. And as you can see that in the comparison in 2019 to 2020, it has increased and it will increase in the year 2021 as well. Now, there are certain things that we need to know of. What is an RPA? RPA is nothing but a robotic process automation. What it does is it takes action on behalf of a particular individual in a much more realistic way, where the robots are deployed and they actually go ahead and take decisions on behalf of a normal individual, and they have the decision making capabilities of what a normal individual would have taken in a particular workflow. Okay, now when we talk about a workflow, if we divide the organization, every organization and it has different verticals, and every verticals have their own processes. And if we say that those processes are workflows, that means one process has to be completed before moving on to the next process. If we talk that way, it actually automates that particular workflow. And same happens for the banking industry. Banking industry has certain norms, certain processes in different verticals within the banking industry, and we are also helping them to automate those workflows, which a human might take much more time to complete. We can just automate those processes and get a quick turnaround time for the end consumers to avail those particular requests and to solve those particular requests. Now, there was another buzzword which you might have heard is a blockchain. Now, blockchain is another technology which we also known as the crypto technology, where everything is very encrypted with certain bits of technology. It is also used in bitcoins. It is also used in other cryptocurrencies. and it has merger implications not only in banking, insurance, but also in the healthcare sectors as well. Wherever there is a data, there is a huge implementation scope of the blockchain. Now that I have come to the end of the slide, I think we have already passed time, but if we have 10-15 minutes, we can definitely go for questions if anybody has.
Request students, if they have any questions, then please raise your hand and ask.
Just to sum up in a very little manner for the students, with due permission from Mr. Avisekh, what I found, yeah, some students are coming forward. What I found at the input segment, what we want are data, that to a big data, then a technology, and the output is a reduced cost, efficiency, and a customization. If I can just summarize, input is data and technology, and output is reduced cost, if you say efficiency, and a tailor-made solution for each and everyone. That is what in a nutshell perhaps we discussed.
Yes,
And I'm
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm
So
sure
basically,
is
it is all data driven. So whatever we do on a day-to-day basis, it generates a huge amount of data, and how we analyze those data and how we come up with certain answers so
mm,
that we can make informed decisions. That is all about and it has huge implications. It is not only in banking and insurance sectors, but it is also in education sector, healthcare sector, and whatever sectors that we can choose. So it is, everything is data driven. So if an individual can visualize the data, can understand how we can standardize the data and how we can automate certain processes, we can work with certain efficiency, and the productivity can be increased in a much more greater way.
Sayantan has raised hand.
Yes,
Madam, you see to this?
yes,
Sayantan
yes,
has raised.
that's what I'm about to say. Shantan, so please ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Sir, I have two questions. Firstly, can you elaborate the difference between soft financials and hard financials? And secondly, can you give us more light to the real life applications of blockchain technology?
Yeah, definitely. So that's a very good question, Shayantan, and I will definitely like to answer that. So when we say hard cost saving and soft cost saving, so there are two implications. So hard cost saving is something that what you can tangibly count in terms of dollars, right? How many dollars that you have saved for the organization, right? What is the profitability, right? Now, when we say soft cost saving, it is the savings which you make on your process automation and how you automate certain workflows, right? So, but there are certain costs which are also associated with your workflows, how as an organization you operate and how efficiently you operate. For example, when I joined Wipro, there was something known as Pragati. Now, what is a Pragati? Pragati is nothing but small ideas which does not incur extra cost to implement, but at the end of the day can help us to reduce certain aspects or do some waste management in terms of process and the operation overall. So, for example, what happens is and there are certain things which impact the dollar amount in a direct way, and there are certain things that optimizes your process, which actually helps you to get that dollar amount in savings. Okay, so for example, if I have, suppose I'm a call center employee, right, and I take calls on a day-to-day basis. Okay, on a day-to-day basis, I am able to take let's say 50 calls in a span of 8 hours, right? With all the resolution and with all the background work that we do, right? Now, I am getting paid. My organization is getting paid based on the calls that I pick up for my organization in that span of 8 hours, right? Now, how efficiently I can go about it and how I can increase my call intake, right? So that is one of the things that can help the organization to directly save in terms of dollars, and also it can also help in terms of extra billing as well. Okay, so it's how efficiently you go about it, is your soft cost saving. Okay, because you're not getting paid extra, so the company does not have to pay you extra to take that 10 extra call. However, if you are taking that 10 extra call for your organization is directly benefiting from the extra billing of those 10 calls that he's making to the client. So that is the hard cost saving. Okay, and the soft cost saving is the how the efficiency of an individual has increased because he is employing certain tactics in taking those calls. So that is a soft cost saving. And regarding blockchain, blockchain is the technology where there is a very less documentation of on blockchain. It is a very niche technology. Not every organization works on it. However, in a nutshell, it's a string of data, if I have to put it technically, and I hope that you understand that. So it's a string of data that actually has information which is encrypted in certain encryption languages, which is much more secure. It is actually implemented in banking and insurance industries where they deal with, let's say, mutual funds. They deal with stocks. They deal with debentures. They deal with bonds, like offering in the IPO. In the healthcare sector, it is more implemented in securing the healthcare data for a particular individual. For education sector, it can imply on the all the research material that can be encrypted so that it is much more secure and it can be only accessed to those accessible individuals who are given the access. So those are the basic, or in a layman term, the applications of a blockchain. And we're not getting into much details, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. Does that answer your question, Shantan?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well.
Yes, there is a question from Urvashi. Urvashi, please go ahead, unmute yourself and say.
Thank you so much, sir, for the session. Sir, when we talk about the advantages of digital banking, given the time of pandemic, we all are aware it was so beneficial. But when we talk about digital banking, sir, there are certain challenges. We all are aware about it. So how to deal with those challenges, sir?
Yeah, so there are challenges. Technology is never perfect. It is made by humans for the efficiency of humans. So yes, there are challenges. My organization is constantly working on those challenges. But in order to overcome those challenges, there needs to be certain amount of effort that needs to be invested by those organizations to come up with a solution. What you need to understand, Urvashi, is that when you are dealing with a financial instrument, you are not only dealing with public, you're also dealing with the government and regulatory services as well. So in order to have a feasible solution, it has to be in purview of the regulatory services, as well as it has to secure the public data that it is trying to access in a much more secure way. So probably that is what is quite challenging, because that if there is some regulatory changes that has happened, then the solution has to adapt to those regulatory changes. So that has to be kept in mind. And though it is not changing every day, but there are certain external situations that impact us, which is out of our control. For example, this pandemic, right? Everything has to be digital. Everything has to be moving towards isolation, right? So those are the external things which are impacting, but we are definitely working towards it. And in some days to come, you will definitely experience much more engagement in terms of digital banking. And if you can highlight any challenges that you have faced, I can see if I can provide you some alternate. Uh, uh,
Thank you. Yes, whenever I have dealt with this topic like study of digital assets and of SMEs and enterprises of Kolkata, and I have also worked with it. So I was there in a seminar. So I asked sir from Bandhan Bank. So I also asked him the same question, that what are the challenges to face with. So he also told me that it is a question and to be answered like this only, because there are so many uncertainties.
Yeah, there are certain uncertainties, and whenever there is financial instruments which are there, it is under the purview of the government regulations, and that is what is quite challenging because we have to abide by the government
Yes.
regulations. So, anyways, that's a very good questions. That's a food for thought for most of the organizations. But believe me, we are in the organizations, we are putting some effort so that the end consumers can get better experience and can be more engaging in the upcoming days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So I think no more questions are there for the time being. So I would like to really thank Abhishek. As you know, he's my school friend, and since a long journey of 13 years we have spent together being a school friends. But then after that also, though we departed in different paths, but still we are very good friends. And thank you, Abhishek, for really giving your precious time for us, and especially enlightening our students with this new perspective, because mainly we what we do with the theoretical perspective and other things, but this technological aspect has really enlightened us, and it has really broadened our knowledge, and we are really very much thank you. And I would also like to thank all the members of the Amity family, those who are here, like Vice Chancellor Sir, Founder President Sir, Senior President, Pro Vice Chancellor Ma'am, uh, our Dean Academic Sir, IIC definitely, and definitely our head Mahapatro Sir, and all my colleagues and friends, those who are here, because without the entire support of my team, this lectures will not be possible. But last but never the least, my beloved students, because without their presence and without their support, this lectures is really a futile. So my students, thank you very much for being a patient listener and participating in this guest lecturer, making these series of guest lecture a success is just because of your presence. And thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all, in particular Hafsa Madam. It's your coordination because of which we could have this session. And I'm sure those who are really working on data science, digital banking, this whole session recording you can go through. It was so decently and so nicely explained. Every aspect of that is being covered here. So sometimes when you get